Welcome to a new episode of Books and Beyond from the Winter Park Library, recorded live in the recording studio at the library in beautiful Winter Park, Florida. In Books and Beyond, we have conversations with writers, musicians, artists, presenters, and other contributors. Most of our guests have appeared live at the Winter Park Library or will be presenting soon. We hope you'll subscribe to the Books and Beyond podcast and that you'll stay up to date with library goings-on at winterparklibrary.org/events. That's winterparklibrary.org/events. I'm Michael Werner, and I'll be your host for our interviews. Enjoy the show. Hello out there, library patrons, readers, and smart people everywhere. This is Michael Werner, your host of the Winter Park Library's Books and Beyond podcast. And today we have a very interesting guest, which we're going to get to in just a moment after my commercial for what I like to call Winter Park University, which is really the Winter Park Library, and all the events that they have taking place here. On my way into the podcast studio this morning, I picked up a schedule at the front desk, and anybody can find it there, or you can find it at winterparklibrary.org/events. That's winterparklibrary.org/events. You'll see what's going on this month and usually the next month as well. And I just picked this one up. This is for February, and there's different categories here. We've got creative arts. There's 7 or 8 sessions in there. There's health and living, history and culture, performing arts, school and careers, stories, language and literature, and technology and gaming. So there's a ton of stuff for everybody. I see things, the AARP tax assistance is going on here this month, obviously because it's tax time. A bunch of things related to our 250th anniversary as a country. So it's called America 250, so a lot of events going on in the history section. So please check that out, winterparklibrary.org/events. Well, I'm here with Cathy Lieblich. Welcome, Cathy.
Thank you, Michael. Happy to be here.
Yeah, Cathy runs an organization called Neighbors Network, and we're going to talk to Cathy about what that's all about and why she's here and what's going on in her world. And Cathy, before we get to the actual Neighbors Network, just tell me a little bit about Cathy Lieblich and
Sure.
As a little child and where you were, where you grew up, and just who are you?
Okay. Well, I'm originally from New York, grew up on Long Island, then left at age 18 to go to college in Baltimore, and then went to grad school straight from college in social work at the University of Chicago. And then I've been in the field of aging and aging services and programs for 42 years and then retired.
Wow.
I retired 3 years ago now. And as soon as I retired from working I worked for an organization called Pioneer Network, which had to do with transforming nursing homes and other senior living options from institutions to real homes for people.
Okay.
So I was involved with that organization for a long time and had many different positions over the 42 years.
And was it through them that you ended up here in Florida, or how did you get
No,
here?
Actually, we were living, my husband and I were living in Manhattan, New York, and I had lived other places before, and he had too. But we decided at a certain point he would go to law school. So in his 30s, and right after I had our daughter in 1991, he got accepted to the University of Miami, got a full tuition scholarship, so we went there. And my mother actually had retired there, so it was nice because we could be near her. And our second child, our son, was born there in Miami.
Okay.
And then I worked for Florida International University they had a Southeast Florida Center on Aging, it was called. And then we moved here because my husband's first job out of law school was here for a law firm.
Okay.
And we've been here for 32 years.
Okay.
32 years, yes. Our son just turned 32. That's how I know. So.
Okay, so you have 2 children.
We have 2 children, a daughter and a son. Yeah.
Okay, all right, very nice. So tell us a little bit about the transition from your career into Neighbors Network, and then we'll get into talking about what Neighbors Network really is and what it does.
Sure. Well, let's see. Back in around 2011, a colleague of mine, I was working at the Winter Park Health Foundation.
Okay.
And a colleague of mine named Annette Kelly had heard at a conference, Florida Council on Aging conference, from an organization called Beacon Hill Village. It's in Boston. And what they was a group of older adults who decided we need to take care of each other as we age. And so they started this model of what they called a village. So it was Beacon Hill Village. And the model is that you have volunteers that deliver the services to people. So people join.
Okay.
It's a membership organization.
Okay.
And for joining, they get these volunteer services if they need them and want them.
Okay.
We also have activities and programs, and that's where some of the activities and programs have been here at the Winter Park Library now that we're here. But so she said she approached me as well as some other colleagues in the aging field.
Yeah, yeah.
And said, I'd like to start one here. So she went to the Winter Park Health Foundation to tell them that, talk to them about the model and see if they would support it. And they asked her to do a feasibility study, and she did. She had a doctorate. And so it was feasible, and it started first in their service areas or focus areas, which are Winter Park, Maitland, and Eatonville.
Okay.
And they gave us funding for 3 years of funding. And that helped us get started.
Okay.
And we became our own 501c3 nonprofit organization.
Okay.
So I was
and
involved.
That was when?
That was like, we became our own 501c3 in 2016. So
Okay,
we're
you've been around for a
celebrating
while,
our
about
10th anniversary this year.
Yeah. You're in
And
sync
we're gonna
with
have
America 250, except your Neighbors Network 10.
That's right. Only 10 years old, but still, yeah, it's
Yeah.
great. And still have have had some support from the Winter Park Health Foundation for scholarships because we have a membership fee, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
We don't want to turn anyone away who can't afford the membership fee. So we've had member scholarships from Winter Park Health Foundation, Winter Park Women's Club of Winter Park, the Rotary, and that helps us to be able to provide scholarships to people so they don't have to pay anything to be members.
Okay.
If they qualify.
Okay, I understand.
yeah.
All right, so let's dig down a little bit on specifically on the Neighbors Network.
Yes,
Okay, so
yes.
which you started in 2016. Is that correct? 2016?
Yeah, I mean a little before even when we weren't a 501c3, but yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much that's our establishment date as a bona fide nonprofit organization.
Okay, and to become a member, in addition to the fee or not the fee that you pay, there's an age restriction, right? It's for people of a certain age.
55 and over.
55 and over.
Right.
Okay, and what is it you think that attracts members? What is it that? Why would I want to join that organization, your organization?
So I'll explain, what the volunteers provide
Okay.
and some of the activities and programs that we provide. So the services that are provided to volunteers are not something like we start very much when we describe it, not home care. In other words, it's not helping people with activities of daily living and
Okay.
things like that. It's things like rides to anywhere really that they want to go, sort of in the area. But it doesn't have to be like some
want to go to the theater or something.
Yeah. And some ride programs are just medical appointments. Ours is not, although a lot of ours tend to be some medical appointments.
Okay.
And so that has some restriction on it in terms of number of rides because it is the most requested service, as you
Is
can
it?
imagine.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
you have to have enough volunteers. So we're always looking for volunteers who are willing to do rides.
And your volunteers, are they other members or are they just? They
No,
can be
so they're
anybody?
volunteers. They can be anyone, but how it works is that they fill out a volunteer application on our website. And then our volunteers chair calls them and interviews them over the phone. They're asked for references, that we do background checks. For drivers, the additional background check is driving records. Okay, so, and they have to have, for drivers, they have to have a certain amount of insurance, their own auto insurance.
Okay.
But in addition to rides, there are household tasks.
And they're using their own cars in the case of rides. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
There are household tasks that people may want or need, and that is could be organizing and decluttering with
We could
people.
all use a little bit of that.
That's exactly what. That's
Sign me
exactly
up.
right. Everybody says that when we mention
Sign
that
me
one.
up, yeah.
A lot of these things are things that people at any age might want too.
Right.
Changing the light bulb on the ceiling or the smoke alarm detector.
Yeah.
So they don't have to get on the ladder. our volunteers
I can
do
relate
that.
to that. Yeah. Yeah.
Or once in a while, it could be doing laundry. It could be, but it's not an everyday thing.
Right. Right.
Sometimes we also have volunteers and sometimes groups of people helping with yard work, or just like a or twice a year
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
thing. Another once or twice a year thing we have that we had students were helping us with, and at one point it was Rollins students, and that's mattress flipping.
Ah.
So
Okay.
that's another thing that I know. My husband and I do our mattress,
Uh-huh,
and it's heavy. It's a king size.
Yeah. 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 It's not only it's impossible for me to do it by
Yeah.
myself. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then anything actually, sometimes, often we add to our list of services depending on what our members want.
Mm-hmm.
Some others are like errands and minor household repairs. I was going to say we have handy people.
Okay.
I used to say handymen, but handy
Yeah.
people
Handy people.
who come and do minor household repairs.
Okay.
And it could be social visits. Somebody. We had one member who wanted people to play Rummy Cube with her.
Okay.
She's since passed away, but she was in her 90s and she was great, and she loved the volunteers who would come play that
Well,
with
you could
her.
sign me up for that. I'd go.
Yeah,
I'd go
yeah,
play
yeah.
cards with somebody
That's
or
a
a
fun
game with
thing.
somebody. Yeah.
So on the volunteer application, there's a list of all these things. But then we ask if you have certain skills that you think would help someone, please put them here, because we may have members that would need that skill, would need that help. So it's kind of flexible as long as we keep within our mission that it's not hands-on care. The only
Right,
type
right.
of hands-on thing that we will do is the drivers for rides. They do go up to the door. And if a person, and the person might have a cane, but they would like to lean on the person's arm
Yes.
to get to the car. And we will also, if let's say it's a medical appointment, we'll go in with them, not for the whole time necessarily.
Right,
they'll
right.
they'll call
Make
us
sure
when
they
they're
get checked
ready.
in.
Yeah, but mostly go in terms of the walking so that they can
Okay.
hold on to you and then
Okay.
go get them. Yeah. So it's that kind of personalized service, and they're all personalized services. And our members love our volunteers, and our volunteers love our members, and we love our volunteers and members. But particularly the volunteers, it's just wonderful. And it's a very flexible opportunity. So to give you an example, if you say you would give rides, when a member asks for a ride and it says from a certain place to a certain place, that information is sent to all the emailed to all the volunteers who said they would do rides.
Okay.
And then whoever steps up first does the ride.
Right. Right.
So if you what you do is like what I do, because I drive people sometimes, look at my calendar. Can I do it? And then I'll step up. But if I can't do it, then I won't. So, and if they go away, they can ask to not get those emails too if they're away for
Sure.
a period of time.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What is the most? Rides are the most common thing that you have.
Yeah,
You think?
the most requested service, yes. Organizing and decluttering. You were going to ask, I think, which minor household repairs.
Yeah.
That's pretty big.
Yeah.
We have had a. Those are probably the more bigger most requested
Right. Right.
things.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we have activities and programs they can participate in too.
So, and what are some of those
Okay.
activities? and programs?
So we have actually there's a book club that meets at the College Park Neighborhood Center, and because I can give you our service area too, because
By the way,
we're
what
not
is
everywhere.
your website? What is your website?
NeighborsNetworkFL.org.
Okay. NeighborsNetworkFL.org. Okay.
And we are in a certain service area, which I'll talk about also whenever you want me to talk
Well,
about that.
jump in right now.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right. So as I mentioned, it started with Winter Park, Maitland, and Eatonville, but we've expanded to College Park, Orlando north of Colonial, Baldwin Park, Fern Park, Castleberry, and Altamont Springs below 436. So
Okay.
we're hoping, and the way that worked was they have to be next to at least an area that we serve.
Okay, okay.
And we have to make sure that we have enough volunteers who live up that way. Let's say if we're now considering expanding maybe to more of Altamont.
Okay.
We have to make sure we're going to have volunteers to serve people if we're going to, market our
Yeah.
Neighbors Network or promote it.
Right.
So those are the areas. Right now, I think most of our members come from Winter Park or Maitland, but we also have plenty in Altamont and other places. So.
Okay. Well, Cathy, I don't know what that means, but I think it must be time for our rapid fire Q&A.
Okay.
Do you want to play with us?
I do.
All right. This is a chance for us to get to know, and our listeners to get to know you as a person, apart from Neighbors Network. Okay.
Yeah, great.
All right. So here we go. These are sort of I shuffled up at random. Cathy, if you had not followed social work and your organizational or your community organizational activities, what do you think? What kind of career might you have had? What's something else?
I really don't know. That for instance, when I went to college, I had no idea what I was going to major in.
Yeah.
And didn't know what I wanted to do, and so I ended up majoring in anthropology, which was very interesting to me. And a lot of it, I was particularly interested in urban anthropology, which was not of societies that different societies that are not like we are or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was more, like my first assignment that I did was I did an ethnographic study of a senior center. So, why?
Okay.
Well, so my grandparents came to live with us when I was in high school, and I got very close, especially to my grandmother. And I'm sure that that's where my whole career, path when I did the anthropology, and then I went to the senior center, and I got to know the members and stuff. And I came back to my college, and there really there were no classes in gerontology. And in fact, back then, gerontology was a brand new master's that you could get. And so what I did was for different classes, I did studies of how older adults are treated in other societies.
Okay.
Because a big thing for me was that we didn't treat older adults as they deserve to be treated.
Yeah.
There was a book back in the 70s written by Dr. Robert Butler, who was really one of the first geriatricians in the United States in New York. And he wrote a book called Why Survive Being Old in America. And he's the one that actually coined the term ageism.
Okay.
Which now people hear more often.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, and then I go, okay, well, so I want to work with older adults, or I want to improve how our society treats them, or their quality of life.
Yeah.
And I was in my 20s, and now I am an older adult. But I ended up applying to gerontology programs, of which there were only a few master's programs, and master's in social work programs. And
So you were destined from the get-go to become involved in social work of some type, I think.
Yeah, and the older adults, even I didn't know that until I went to this program, and did that work at the senior center.
Cathy, another question for you.
Yes.
If you could go anywhere for a fully paid 1-hour shopping spree, where would that be?
Fully paid,
you
1
get
hour.
as much as you want in 1 hour. You got it. It's shopping.
Okay. All paid. Probably. Yeah, it'd probably be local, like Mall at Millennia, which has a lot of really nice stores and stuff. And if someone else is paying, that's fine.
Sure. Okay. All right. What's something they don't teach you in school but should?
Oh.
School meaning up through high school.
Yeah, I don't feel like I got enough in terms of geography, actually, and so I'm really not.
Well, Americans are pretty weak in that area. That's
yeah,
for sure,
they are anyway.
At all levels.
But they need to teach it better,
Yeah.
Maybe they do now.
Yeah.
Maybe back when I was in school, I don't know. Yeah. And also civics, and because I'm very involved civically or whatever, and I think that would be really important for people to learn at a younger age.
This is a fill in the blanker. Success is
being your authentic self.
Okay. What's your favorite meal?
Sushi.
Do you make sushi, or you get it when you go out?
I get it when I go out.
Yeah.
I haven't made sushi yet.
I've known people that make it, and it's pretty elaborate. What's your favorite place in the world?
Oh, there are a few because my husband and I are retired, and so we have traveled.
Yeah.
I love Paris.
Okay.
Let's just say Paris.
Okay.
There are other places too, but
Yeah. It was a wonderful place.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to your 20-year-old self? If you
Don't
go back.
sweat the small stuff.
Don't sweat the small stuff. That's a good one. What's a character trait you admire in others?
Honesty, authenticity.
My music tastes are.
I'm in the 70s.
You're in the
Kind of
70s,
stuff
so-
back in
so
the 70s.
classic rock and
but
roll,
things like
70s rock and
classic
roll.
rock and roll, folk, really more like Carole King, James Taylor, Elton John, Cat Stevens, Carly Simon, those guys.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, for those of you that don't know, our producer here at the show, Jeremy Zorn, is a musician, and he plays often. So look for Jeremy around town. If you
will.
haven't seen Jeremy, just go find out where Jeremy is, and you get to see him.
I'm planning to do that.
If I knew the name of his band, I would say it, but I don't remember the name of it. We'll find out, and we'll report back to you.
Sounds good.
Okay. Last question for you. I should have blank.
Maybe not worked as much as my kids were growing up.
Okay. Yeah. It's a hard one. It's a hard one not to do. Okay, let's go back to Neighbors Network, okay?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about your involvement specifically with the library and what the library means to seniors. And I mean, we are a library. We're at the in the podcast studio here at the library, which is one of the many offerings here at this library. And most libraries have tons of offerings now. I think if people haven't been at libraries, Cathy, and I know you have, obviously, but it's amazing what they offer. I mean, it's way beyond books now. Way beyond books.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful.
Yeah.
And what a wonderful library and gift to the community this
Yeah,
library
no
is.
kidding.
Amazing.
It is wonderful.
Yeah. And everything that's going on and the staff and all the programming, it's just like you started in the beginning talking about all the things that are offered.
Yeah.
So, and then also I'll mention, even though this is about Neighbors Network, we bring our 4-year-old grandson here because it's great, the children's area.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to mention a couple of things. One is that the first thing we ever did had to do with reserving a room here. Okay. And it was for a home modifications talk by one of our board members, who's what's called Laura Kapp, who's what's called an aging in place specialist.
Okay.
And that was not only open to our members, but anybody could come to that. So it was wonderful to be able to book the room for that and to have that session. Then in June, this was now last year, but I'll talk about this year too.
Sure.
There was Rachel Simmons as another person we have really connected with. First, we connected with Jen Schroeder.
These are public librarians here at the library.
Yes.
Yeah.
Through Dr. Ruth Edwards, who connected us with Jen, and she was great in talking to us because she's a community outreach librarian too, and so she connected us with Rachel. And in June, it was called Down the Brick Road Winter Park History. And we had members that went to that, and she shared stories and artifacts. She's, of course, the archivist here. And then August, we did a virtual reality tour in the tech lab.
How was
and
that?
Our members loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew they would. In fact, I had come and I had met with Andrew and
who's the head of the technology
Dr.
at the
Edwards.
library. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as soon as he mentioned that, I said, "Oh, our members will love it." Especially if you can. One of the things you can do is go to the street where you grew up.
Really?
Yes. So
in the age of that, at that time?
Yeah, I believe it was at that time.
Wow,
yeah,
interesting.
It's really great. But they loved it. I was planning to go and I was sick. I couldn't go. I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
But they loved it.
So it was a special session just for your
It
members?
that was just for our members.
Very nice.
And but he does it. I think for others, it's just that we have that. And then this year we have scheduled. With Rachel again, she's the contact to register. And in this case, our members are going to register themselves.
Okay.
But if they need a ride, so that's another thing. When there are things here that members want to go to and it's on our calendar, they can get rides.
Yeah, okay.
So it's called Pullman America's Hotel on Wheels. You know about Pullman.
Sure,
right?
sure, the Pullman cars. Yeah.
Yep, yep. And so hopefully we'll have a number of members that sign up for that one. The other thing we've done here, have been invited for a couple of years to the volunteer fair that is done here that nonprofits are invited to.
Okay.
So that to try to recruit volunteers to let people know about our organization, and then they come by our table and we talk to them about it. And that's been great too, to be invited to do that, because as I said, without our volunteers, there would be no Neighbors Network.
Right. And just to reiterate, if we didn't already say it, Cathy, to sign up either as a volunteer or as a member, you just do that through your website, right?
You can do it through the website, but some older adults, mostly in the higher ranges of being older,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Some don't use the internet or use,
Right.
so they can call.
Okay.
So they call. We have a rides coordinator and somebody else for all the other services.
Okay.
And so they call, let's say it's a ride, they call Al, and if it's a service, they call Joanna. So Joanne. So, so they know who to call. What's nice about that, what Neighbors Network is a lot about, is it's a community of belonging, it's a community of caring, and it helps with things like loneliness and isolation. People are not as isolated and socially isolated, and you make friends. So a story is that we had two members who lived in pretty much the same neighborhood but didn't know each other. And they met through Neighbors Network, and they're the best of friends.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
That's my
So
favorite.
do you have, like you mentioned the book club,
other
there's some
things?
other things like
Yes.
that,
Oh, there
more
are other.
social
Yeah.
kind of
So
things?
this is an interesting thing too. So Annette, who I had mentioned earlier, she had been doing a creative arts kind of a program, and then decided she couldn't do it anymore. So one of our members who participated in the program said, "I'll host it at my house," and she's been running it.
One of
She's
the members?
a member.
Wow.
Yeah, she's wonderful. Her name's Veronica Daly. We had she was we had a segment on Spectrum News 13, and Veronica was highlighted in that. So it's great.
Oh, that's
but
very
anyways, just that. So Neighbors Network is not only about getting things, but it's also about giving back. And giving back can just be being friendly with somebody. And in her in Veronica's case, it's more than that for what she's doing. We have a lunch out. So people come to a restaurant a certain time of the month. We have a volunteer who hosts it, just to be there and to see who's there and everything. People pay for their own lunch in that case. We have gone to...
And that's purely social. There's no...
That's purely social,
Yeah, okay.
right. And even like the creative arts, while people are doing their art, they're talking, and so much of it is so social.
Yeah.
And even if you get a ride from someone, or someone comes to your house to help you, it's a social thing too in some ways. They get to know the person a little bit, and they have company in the home, and it's not just coming to do that concrete thing.
I like your organization.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like
do
it.
too. I love it.
I
mean,
I like it.
That's why I retired, like I said, in 2022. And when Annette said she was going to step down as the president, and I thought, oh, maybe I should do it. I don't know. And I did it. So I'm very happy that I did. Because, as you know, it's been a passion of mine to work with older adults and to improve people's quality of life.
Yeah. And as far as the volunteers go, you mentioned for members, members, you have to be 55 or over. Members can be any age.
Well, yeah, pretty much 18.
I know members, I mean volunteers.
Volunteers can be 18 and over. And then we've had school groups. We've had some people, children from Winter Park High School, teens from Winter Park High School that have in the past helped with yard cleanup. So groups where they need to have someone from wherever they're from kind of be there. And then we also have a volunteer that's there to kind of manage things.
Okay, yeah.
And actually, we recently had some students who helped someone in their garden, one of our members in her garden.
Okay.
And she was thrilled.
Cathy, can you tell us about any special story? You have any special stories to share with us about somebody that was in trouble for whatever reason, and then you helped them out in their life. You turned around their life. Or, maybe not that dramatic, but you know what I mean.
There are a lot of stories.
Okay.
And I mentioned the one about the two members who became friends.
Yes.
And one of that duo didn't have friends or family here.
Mm-hmm.
So that really changed
I love that.
her life.
Yeah.
And she talks a lot about how Neighbors Network has changed her life. There
Do you have a specific
people,
way that, let's say I'm a member and I'm lonely and I want to meet other guys to hang out with or whatever. Is there a way how do I do that? How would I?
well, we can try to connect people,
Yeah.
or tell them, come to this activity and you'll
Okay.
meet people. But it's all about connection,
Yes, sure.
and trying to connect people. Yeah. We have had people who have had a refrigerator that went kaplooey, right?
Yeah.
And couldn't really afford much, and so we ended up getting them a refrigerator. Not, it was either donated or,
Sure.
so it was another person with an air conditioner, and these are important things for people to have.
Of course.
Right.
Of course.
We had a member who fell and broke her hip, and then and then we had a number of volunteers or people who knew her from Neighbors Network come visit her in the hospital first, and then in the rehab, and now at home, and now she's home, and she's doing great.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Cathy Lieblich
Yes.
from Neighbors Network. You've been great to have here, but I want to give you a chance to say anything you want to say. Tell us a little bit more about your organization that we didn't talk about before we sign off. Anything else you want to say?
Well, no.
Or tell us.
The main thing is, if you, anyone listening, if you know of anyone who could benefit with this organization, benefit with the services that we provide and the activities, please let them know about it, because we're kind of the best kept secret, which is why I'm so happy to be on this podcast.
Yeah, I'd never heard of your
have
organization,
never heard
and
of
I think
us.
it's pretty cool.
And then volunteers, if you know people who might be interested in volunteering, it's a meaningful volunteer opportunity as well as a very flexible one, as I mentioned before.
Okay.
And then we're always looking, and very much happy when we get donations as well, because we are a nonprofit and it helps us to continue doing what we're doing.
I'd like to hear everything you've said today, Cathy. It's been great having you.
Thank you.
And maybe you can come back again next year or something and tell us how things are going then.
I'd love to, Michael.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cathy. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Books and Beyond from the Winter Park Library. This podcast would not be possible without the generous help and support from the library staff, and especially from Jeremy Zorn. Jeremy's official title is Public Services Librarian, but he does many things here at the library, including producing this podcast. We can't do this without you, Jeremy. Our theme music is from the song Don't Go by Bovine Joe and the Buffalo Herd. That's Herd spelled H-E-A-R-D. We hope you'll let your friends and others know about this podcast, and that you'll come by the library for one of our offerings, which you can find at winterparklibrary.org/events. That's winterparklibrary.org/events. If you have questions or suggestions for the podcast, or just want to talk about Books and Beyond, please send an email to podcast@winterparklibrary.org. That's an email to podcast@winterparklibrary.org. Remember that the Winter Park Library promotes the free and open exchange of ideas and does not attempt to control or take responsibility for any opinions that may be expressed in this podcast. Opinions expressed in this podcast do not constitute or imply an endorsement or a reflection of the library's policies or beliefs. This is Michael Werner, wishing you well until our next episode of Books and Beyond.